Today we have actress, model, and humanitarian Angie Everhart. Angie, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Good morning.
Morning. Now I've heard people set goals before, but this is amazing. You are trying to promote a program called 100 billion meals challenge. That's 1,000 million. See, they think they know what a billion is until they actually do the math.
That's so funny. Well, if you know anything about Tony Robbins, you have to excuse me.
Yeah.
I was at a Tony Robbins conference last week, and I left my voice in Palm Beach. But if you know anything about Tony Robbins, he doesn't do anything small.
No.
Mm-hmm. So yes, we're doing today at noon. You can tune in to www.100billionmeals.org, and you can see the show. So we are going for 100 billion meals. And my company at Baraganics, I'm one of the first companies that signed on to help Tony and Sage, and for every purchase, we also donate a meal, and that will go on forever in perpetuity.
That's amazing, because I've actually seen Tony speak a couple times, and I know he's been doing the meal as part of, if you sign up with his, like, for example, the business can sign up. You can get a bunch of training programs, and part of your fee goes to those programs.
Yes, they're such wonderful people. I mean, when he says he's going to do something, he does it. He saved young girls from slavery, and he actually painted his face and went into the jungle and went there. Now for the 100 billion meals, he was like, I could do 1 billion meals, but why stop at 1 billion meals? And then he was like 10 billion meals. And then, so now he's like, let's go for 100 billion meals. I bet he's going to make it. What do you think?
You know what? One thing about Tony, but first off, if you don't know Tony Robbins is about 6'7". I mean, he's a big dude. I actually was in the military and walked through the jungle. I can't imagine looking behind me and seeing some dude 6'7". Right? He's not blending. I don't care how much camo he's putting on.
Like Tony, I would be scared too.
Yeah. The one thing he always says is, Tony always talks about, making goals big, trying to make them achievable, but always going big, maxing out. And I think he was probably the beginner of, because you hear the term 10X used a lot and everything else like that. But, he's really the one who said, push it as far as you can. And I assume you got involved with Tony's business because you've been involved with Tony in the past.
Actually, I got involved in 100 billion meals before I ever did anything with Tony. I had never done any of his seminars. A girlfriend came to me and said, who is working with Tony closely, and she said, would your company be interested in doing 100 billion meals? And we're 2 years old. So, I had been actively looking for some give back for our company and that, because that's my initiative. When I first came on, because the company didn't have it, and I was like, we've got to find something, guys, come on, and I was in a hurry, and she said it to me, and I was like, yes. And she's like, wait, you want to hear more? And I'm like, no, yes, I'm in. We are a nutritional food business. It's full circle. We get Tony Robbins. I'm like, giving back. We want to feed the world. Like for me, a nutritional food business, people buy our food and then we feed the hungry. So I have been hungry in my lifetime, and it's no fun. It is when somebody reaches out to help you in your time of need. It is the most humbling experience, and very, very, the kindness in the world is, you really feel it. So at this Christmas time, please, people, it's www.100billionmeals.org. You sign on, you watch the show for free. You want to give $10, you can actually be part of the show. You could be there with Janet Jackson. Oh gosh, who else is going to be there? Come on, call some names out. Dr. Dre, Janet Jackson, Melissa Etheridge. I heard a hint of Bon Jovi, maybe. Our DMC. Can you hear my voice?
Yeah,
DMC.
people don't realize when you go to these conferences or when you have to speak, because I've been on the radio sometimes 4 or 5 hours at a time. You don't realize how quick that voice can leave. I think you were probably thinking, oh, this is going to be too hard. And then afterwards, you're going, why can't I speak?
It actually happened about 2 days after I left the conference.
Yeah.
And yes. So, and I went to the doctor yesterday. I'm cleared to go, but nothing. I just have strained vocal cords, if you can believe it.
Now, when people say, oh, I've gone hungry, they don't really understand. They think, oh, that's just something people say. But I mean, you've had issues dealing with health. And one thing that when I was reading your bio, it's so amazing to me that we don't have health care now that won't bankrupt people, that won't put people, in the toilet on something where you're going, oh, it's just so painful that our country's in that state right now.
So, this is kind of an embarrassing story, but after I had worked for so many years, I had a business manager who stole all my money.
Oh.
And he did it to myself, Tom Arnold, Jerry Bruckheimer. Maybe I'm calling them out, but
Wow.
He stole everything from me. So I came home one day, I lost my home. I couldn't buy gas. I had no money for food. I was stuck. I didn't even have $10. And I had worked my entire life, and somebody came in and stole everything from me. And I was already, I was past my prime, I should say, of making the big money. But it wasn't like it was different. So everybody has their own, and I had no money. I had no money for food. I was too embarrassed to tell anybody. And it was a very, very rough time in my life. Lost everything. And I had a friend reach out and help me and came over and bought me groceries. And I found that to be the kindest thing in the world. And because I didn't have dinner. I hadn't eaten in like 2 days. And so, we have hunger across America, in the greatest country in the world.
Yeah.
And I'd like to be a part, and I am a part of helping Tony, helping give back in a real way. And people, it's actually going to people. We are feeding people. It's not going to some CEO somewhere. Tony doesn't need the money.
Yeah. How tough is that? Because people don't realize when you're down. And first off, you're just grateful that the people in your life weren't just a bunch of hanger-on and some people were offering help and everything. I mean, I can't imagine that time for you when you realize, wait a minute, all these people, none of them were really my friend. And now I have this handful of people that I really care about. I mean, how difficult is that to realize? I mean, that just must be devastating.
So look at it this way. Out of every bad situation comes something good. So I learned the value of friendship. I learned the value of $1. And I learned the graciousness of giving. And that's, these are very important lessons to learn in life, is when you're down and out and people actually help you, then, I wanted to pay that forward. So that's, and then I had a son, became a part of the best club in the world, is the Moms Club. And, and then he opened my eyes and my heart to something, completely special. Sorry, I'm moving around. I start talking about my son and my camera starts going crazy. Sorry.
No. I get it. I was sitting there, I'm watching this camera shake around a little bit, and I've never done an interview where I've done this. And I was like going,
Sorry.
I'm going, yeah, my producer, I put a lot on. I'm like, you got this, right, Dave? And he's looking at me going, I don't know.
Is it moving too much?
We're better now. It's just a funny life. Now I have a child. She wants to be an actress. She wants to go into this business. And, as a father, some of it makes me sick because I know how tough it could be with everything you're dealing. You got the Harvey Weinsteins out there. You got people who do crazy things to you. I mean, what advice would you give? Because you were not only an actress, but being a model, I'm sure you took a lot of crap too.
Look, you have to have street smarts. Try not to get yourself into bad situations. I don't know what to tell you on that question.
When you say get these meals together, I mean, I can't even imagine the God, everything that goes into that. You have to get your networks, you have to be able to get your trucks, your distribution. How does that actually work out?
I'm actually not part of the distribution team. So
That says 1 week. 10
I'm not there when they deliver, which that will change because I just became part of it. But for me, every time someone purchases say a box of coffee, we donate a meal. So no matter what people buy from us, we donate a meal. So if you go on to bearorganics.com, you put in Tony 100, anything you buy off of bearorganics.com will get donated. For every one box that you buy, we will donate a meal.
Wow, that's amazing. I can, as you get older, you wonder about how you can contribute to the world. And I know you've been involved with a lot of charities and everything else like that. How humbling is it to be that you could be part of something that could do something like this monumental?
So when I got cancer back in 2012, it was 2019, 12, something like that. 2012, I had to change my lifestyle. I had to make sure that what I was putting in my body was very healthy. And I don't sound very healthy right now, but I just literally just lost my voice. In 2012, I got cancer, so I had to reevaluate my life and check. And it really pushed me to start eating better. And so I took my thyroid out, which caused a whole slew of problems, especially a woman of my age.
Yeah.
No thyroid, menopausal, we. But Bear Organics was absolutely the perfect timing for it popped in my lap at the right time. So we have 5 brands: Bear Organics, Super Organics, Probiogen. We have actually 3 new probiotics that are launching in Walmart, which I'm proud of. And those will have the 100 Billion Meals logo on the box because they're new products coming out. So I'm super thrilled with that. And it's timing in life, and it's the right time for me to be giving back and doing something more for people out there. I've got the experience.
Yeah, it's, when you go through what you've gone through, and I'm sure some of our listeners are going to be like, when they go, why are you laughing about thyroids and everything else like that? I said, they don't realize you also do this podcast and the John Lovitz Theater, and you've done all these things. So, laughing about problems that happen in your life, I'm sure is just a necessity. And I do it all the time myself. And as a stand-up comedian, we laugh all the time about, our worst moments. So for those
What do you
listeners,
want me to sit here and cry?
No. That's what
You're
I mean.
not Barbara Walters.
No, absolutely not. It's not like
I'm
a Roy
not going to sit and
Firestone.
cry about my problems. That's not my personality. When I got cancer, I gave myself one day. I had one big pity party, bought a bottle of Jack Daniels, had a girlfriend over, and I was like, this sucks, woe's me. And the next day I woke up with a hell of a hangover and an attitude like, cancer. And sorry of the listeners, but that's just me. So I was like, F cancer, cancer. I can say that because cancer. And and that's how I am. I don't wallow or waller or whatever the word is.
Oh, you're right. It's wallow.
I try to elevate my state so that I'm in a better place. Why, if you sit and say I'm going to die from cancer, you're going to die.
Yeah.
So, am I laughing? I wasn't quite laughing then, but I'm laughing now because I'm cancer free and I'm out here, doing good in the world and feeding some people today. www.100billionmeals.org. Check it out.
I know you said you just went to see one of Tony's events and everything else, but I've seen a bunch. It wouldn't hurt if you, got on a couple stages to explain to people what it's like to be a survivor too. You seem pretty good at it.
They call them, TED Talks.
Yeah.
I could do a Tony talk.
There you go. Well, thank you so much. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being out there doing what you are for the world. And I think it will make a significant difference. So it was great talking
Well,
to
I
you.
hope so. I hope we reach the goal 100. Again, it's 100billionmeals.org. Sign on. It's $10 if you want to actually be a part of the show. You can be a part of the making of the show, and it would go to a great, hold the camera still, Angie. It'll go to a great cause.
Well, you take care. It was good talking to you.